Hello, thank you for visiting this training video hosted by DXC Technology. Today, I'm going to show you how to navigate the provider portal within the provider management module. We will cover how to obtain an invitation to the portal, how to register that invitation, the difference between a provider and a delegate role within the module, and the main components of managing information in the provider portal. To begin, I'm first going to go over how to receive an invitation to the portal. In order to register, you must receive an invitation code that'll grant you access into the portal. This can happen by a couple different ways. The most common way that this is going to happen is upon the approval of your application. Within your new enrollment application in the provider management module, the last page of the application asks for provider details. Here you give us provider details for registering for the provider portal. So upon the approval of your application, it will automatically generate an email to the details listed on that last page with an invitation code. And you will use that invitation code to register for the provider portal for that specific provider. If you have a provider that has already been converted over into our new system, meaning that they were an enrolled provider prior to the online module, you would have to request access through DXC in order to get an invitation code. This would also be the same process if you were a delegate who wanted to work on a provider's behalf. You would need to request a delegate account. So in order to request an account, you would simply go over to the vtmedicaid.com website. And on the home page of our website, there is going to be a box that says Provider Enrollment Portal Registration. Here, there is a link to the registration form. So you're going to click on the link, and that is going to bring you to the page with the online form. So just to reiterate, this is not for any newly enrolling providers in the provider management module. So if you are enrolling in the new system, you will automatically get an invitation upon the approval of your application. This is for providers who were already enrolled prior to us going live with the online module and/or for delegate accounts. So in order to determine which account type you are going to be asking for, you first need to ask what kind of access the person who is going to receive this invitation should have. If you choose a provider account, that means upon the approval of your request, the invitation code that gets sent out will give direct access to that provider's information. And by that I mean once they log into the account, they will see all of the information associated to that provider's enrollment. Requesting a delegate account means that you are working on behalf of the provider. That means that you need an account in order for the provider to assign you as a delegate to work on their behalf. When you obtain a delegate account, when you first log in, there will be no information in your account. It is just a blank delegate account that is linked to you specifically. The provider will have to assign you in order for you to see information. We will go over how to do that later on in this presentation, but that is the difference between these two accounts. So in order to complete this registration form, again, you're going to either choose that you want a provider account or a delegate account. You're going to give us an email address to send that invitation to, the first name, middle if applicable, and last name. If you are requesting a provider account, you must give us the specific provider ID or service location number that you want specific access for, direct access for. If you are a delegate, you do also need to fill out one or the other so that we can determine if you are allowed to have an account associated to either one of these. And lastly, you will be required to give us the last four of your social security number and birth date. There is a box, just like a lot of other websites, to check that you're not a robot. And once you complete all of this information, you can hit the Submit button, and this will come directly to DXC Enrollment Team in order to complete your request. Once you have received your invitation code, you are then ready to register for the provider portal. And I'm going to show you what the email looks like when you get it. So you're going to get an email that looks very similar to this. It's going to come from vtproviderenrollment@dxc.com. So just make sure that your settings don't accidentally put this email into your junk or spam folder. And it's going to say this is for the provider management module, a registration invitation, and here is that invitation code that we're looking for. Below that will give you a link to register now, and that will bring you to the home page of the provider management module to register that invitation code. Every invitation code must be registered and validated with the information provided in the details in order for you to be able to access the account and create a new account. So now that I have my invitation code, I'm going to take that, like I said, back to the home page of the provider management module, and I'm going to register that invitation code. So there is a box on the home page that says register now. And if you need the link to the provider management module, that is located on the vtmedicaid.com website. And you would simply click provider enrollment and instructions, and you can launch the provider management module here. So if you do need to access it another way than your email, you can launch it here. So I'm going to hit register now. And that is going to bring me to the registration page for my invitation in order for me to be able to create an account to get access to the portal. The invitation code that I currently have is for a delegate account. So I'm going to put my invitation code in here. And you have to enter it exactly as it is in your email. So in my email, and I'll just bring that back up for reference, in my email, it's all capital letters here. So I must enter it exactly as it is here. If I was to enter lowercase letters, it would not accept that. And you can also copy and paste from your email. Once you've entered your invitation code, you're going to hit next on the top right-hand corner to continue. And then it's going to ask you to verify your identity. So in the application, when we ask for portal registration details, we ask you for all of this information. We also ask for it in the online submission form to register. So if we remember and we go back to the registration form, we're asking for name, last four of Social Security, birth date. We are going to ask you to validate that information here. If it does not match exactly as you gave us the information, it will not validate. You will not be able to continue. So I'm going to enter in my information here. And of course, if you get stuck at any point during these steps and you're not able to move on, maybe there was a typo made in the original registration and you're not able to move on, you can always contact the enrollment team at DXC in order to get assistance with this. So once you've entered all of your identifying information, you can hit next to continue. And then it's going to bring you to create an account profile. So it validated the information. I entered all my information correctly. And now it's going to say, let's make an account for you. So it pre-populates my first and last name from the information I gave in the registration details. It's going to ask you for a display name. If you click once in there, it will assume that you want the name of the first and last name. You can change this if you want the display name to say something else, or you can leave it as the first and last name. You have to create a username and a password. So I'm going to create my username as Delegate Test01. You can check availability if you click this little box right here to make sure that that name isn't already taken. And it has not been taken. It did not give me any warning. And then you must create a password. So once you've entered in all of that information, you can hit next to continue. Just like any other website, you must agree to the user agreement in order to continue. So feel free to read over the agreement here. You're going to click I acknowledge that I've read and understood the user agreement and agree to the terms. And then you're going to type your full name in order to continue. And once you've filled out all that information, you can hit submit. That is submitting the request for the account. So we're registering our invitation. We've created an account. We've submitted the account in order to be able to log in and see that information. You'll receive a blue box here that says your registration information has been accepted. You're going to receive a verification email, and it's going to have a secure link needed to complete your registration. And again, it's going to note if you don't see the email, make sure you check your spam or junk folder to do so. So I'm going to bring up and show you what that email looks like. Again, it's from VT Provider Enrollment at dxe.com, so don't delete those. Those are important emails. The Provider Management module, it's going to say your registration confirmation is completed. It will also give you a link to access the healthcare portal, so you can click that link and it'll bring you right back to where I'm going to be to show you how to log in. So as I said, that account that I just created is a delegate account. So I'm going to now use the credentials I just created and log into that delegate account so you can see what happens first when you create a delegate account. I'm going to show you that first, then we'll get into a provider account and I'll show you how to link both of those together. So I'm going to, in order to access the provider portal, I'm going to hit login on the top right-hand corner of the screen. And again, I'm going to use those credentials that I just created during my registration process. So I'm going to use my username and password and log in. And now you'll notice I'm in the Provider Management Module portal. The first thing you're going to notice when you log into a new delegate account, it's going to say that you have either not selected a provider or you do not have any providers to represent. That means that no providers have yet assigned you as a delegate to their accounts. I don't have any accounts linked to me yet, so I can't see anything. So delegate access is somewhat limited in the very beginning as you don't have any access to any information. A few things to note in the provider portal. There is a message board, so if there was messages that DXE or the Department of Vermont Health Access needed to give, we could write messages here. However, I do want to note that this does not replace our banner information that is located on the vtmedicaid.com portal. There is a contact us page, so if you need to get a hold of DXE, you can definitely click the Contact Us page here, and it will give you DXC's mailing address as well as the customer service information. We do have an FAQ, so if you have a question, you may want to check the FAQ first to see if it is answered already in here, but if not, you can definitely feel free to contact DXC for more information. And then lastly, there is Portal Help, which gives quite a bit of information. If you click on here, it'll bring you to another link, and it's going to give you quite a bit of information how to navigate the provider portal. So this is a good tool if you have a question about how to navigate the system. You could definitely check here first and then give us a call if you had more questions. So in order to see what the new delegate can see, it's like I said, it's very limited. Regardless if it's a delegate account or a provider account, in order to navigate the different applications within the portal, you want to hover over the maintenance bar. So you'll see that once I hover over the maintenance bar, I have two different options here. I do have a switch provider option. However, I have no providers yet to switch between, so that option is not yet accessible to me. But what I can do is maintain my portal profile maintenance. So I'm going to click on the portal profile maintenance, and that is going to bring me to my details. So this is my delegate account. I own this account. This is my information. This has nothing to do with enrollment information. It is just your account information. So I am able to change the information here. You'll see I have my name, my display name, my email, birth date, all of that information listed here. And I can edit it. So if I wanted to change something, I would simply come down to the bottom right-hand corner and click Edit. And that's going to open all of this up and allow me to change the information if I need to. I am not going to change anything today, so I'm just going to hit the Cancel button. The one thing that is very important on this screen is the relationship code. So you'll see right here, I am a delegate account, therefore I have a relationship code that is assigned to me. It is a unique code, and this is what allows providers to assign me as a delegate to their accounts. So once I have an active delegate account, I can take this invitation code, I can give it to the providers who I work on behalf of, and they can go into their accounts and assign me a delegate using this code. So I'm going to show you how to link a delegate to a provider account in a little bit, but I just wanted to note that that's what's very important on a delegate account is this relationship code. You will not see a relationship code on a provider role account because I can't link a provider to a provider account. I can only link a delegate account to a provider account. So in order to show you how to link a delegate to a provider account, I first need to go into a provider account. So I want to go next into the provider role account that I've already created using the same exact process. So whether or not it's a provider account or a delegate account, I'm using the same process to register that invitation. So I'm going to log out of here, and you do that by clicking the log out button that's on the top right-hand corner. It's going to bring me right back to the home page. And now I'm going to log in as a provider so that you can see the difference between a provider account and a delegate account. And again, I've already created this user ID and password. Oops. Okay, so if you at any time forget your password or you're not sure how to change your password, you can hit forget password there and it will navigate that through for you. So I'm going to log in as a provider account to show you what this looks like. So again, on the home screen, it's going to look pretty much identical to the delegate account, but you'll notice I don't have that red bar here saying I don't have any access. This is my provider along with the MPI displayed here. If I had multiple service locations associated to the provider, I would see the whole list of them here as well. And just like the delegate account, in order for me to manage any information, I'm going to hover over the maintenance bar. I have the portal profile maintenance just like a delegate account because this is still a created account and this is the information for the account. And even though it's a provider account, this account profile may not have the exact same information as does the enrollment information. So I just don't want to get confused between the profile information and the manage my enrollment information. This profile information is specific just for the account, does not have any bearing on the enrollment information. So you'll notice that when I access the profile maintenance here, the biggest difference is that there is no relationship code here. Just like I said before, a provider role account doesn't have a relationship code because I can't link a provider to a provider. But this works just like the delegate account, where if you need to edit the information, you can click edit here. It will open up and allow you to change that information. The next piece of information that I can do as a provider is I can manage my own information. So if I click the manage my information, it's going to bring me first to this welcome page and just let me know that I can review, make updates and changes as needed. So I'm going to hit start to launch into my own information. So this is the big difference is I have direct access as a provider role to the provider information. And this is going to look very similar to the enrollment application that you filled out online. It's got the tabs here and you can access, we don't have to go in order here because this is just managing your information. So you can jump around here and select any panel that you would like. But it is important to remember here there are pieces of information that you cannot change. For instance, on the first page, the general information page, it doesn't allow me to change the enrollment type, my provider type, or my effective date. If I needed to change my enrollment type or my provider type, that would require a new enrollment. I wouldn't be able to just change that information. So if you are looking to change that information, you would want to start a new enrollment application. If you have questions about when it would be appropriate to do so or not, you can definitely give DXC Technology a call and ask those questions. But if you find that you can't change a piece of information here, it's probably because that isn't allowed on an application to change that specific information. But you can scroll down here and you can change some provider information located here. You can go into addresses. I'm going to show you how to update addresses in here. So if I want to update an address, I'm going to click on my address tab. And you'll notice that here is my information. So again, I can't change any of this information. This is my base information. I can change my location name if I would like to. And I can scroll down here, and this is all the address information that was given on the application. So here is my service location information. Here's my mail to, my pay to address. So if I want to change anything in there, I first want to double click it here. So I'm going to change my pay to. So I'm going to double click. And that's going to bring me up a new window. And you'll notice that it's displaying the information first. I can't change anything here. But if I hit edit, that will allow it to open up and I can change the information. So say I wanted to change the contact information here. I could simply wipe out that name and put in my own name, and I could change my email address. I could also do the same with the address. So say I'm going to change that to 289 Hurricane Lane, keep it in Williston. I can do that as well. So you can change any piece of information here that you would like. Once you've changed the information and you're ready to save, you can hit save in the bottom right-hand corner. Because I changed the address, just like on the online application, it's going to run through that USPS software to validate the address I just chose. So I'm going to hit click on it to select the address change. And now I have to hit save again in order to accept the whole thing. So you can repeat this process with any tab on here that you would like. So if you have change in information, you can hop around here and change any information that you would like. I will note there are some changes that you can make that will automatically go through. So say like the pay to address that I just changed, it was an immediate change. So I put in the change and it saved it. If you wanted to change something like your license, so if you were updating a license and you go into credentials and you wanted to change the information here, it will allow you to make the change and hit save, but what it is going to do is going to come to DXC and the Department of Vermont Health Access to verify the information before that save is complete and the change is made permanent. And that is just because this information has to go through our screening process in order to make changes. So there's some information that you can make that will automatically go through. There's some information that will not and requires review. And you will get notice of those right here through the system. So in addition to maintaining and managing your information, there is also a revalidation button here. And if you click on it, it's just going to let you know when this provider is set to revalidate. It just gives you a little information so that you can be aware of when it's coming up. So for this provider and this service location, the service location is due for revalidation by 2/21/2024. So I'm ways off. I don't need to revalidate for a while, so it doesn't need to be on my radar. And the last thing that I want to show you within the provider portal on the management module is the managing delegates. So as promised, I was going to show you how to link that new delegate that I just created to a provider account. So in order to do that, I'm going to hover over maintenance and I'm going to click manage delegates. And you'll notice that I already have quite a few delegates listed here. So I am saying that all of these delegates can have access to my information in order to manage it. So that is what I'm doing when I'm adding a delegate. So to create a new delegate, I'm going to hit the Create New button located on the right-hand side. And as you remember, we had that relationship code in the delegate information, and that is what I'm going to need now in order to create this new delegate account. So I have to put in their last name, and you have to put it in exactly as it's stated. So if you have a delegate that is giving you a relationship code, you need to make sure that what you're entering in for their last name is exactly how they have it in their account. And then you're going to enter in that relationship code that they give to you. And then you can hit continue. And that's going to bring you up their information. So if neither one of those pieces of information was validated, the last name or the relationship code, you wouldn't be able to get to this step yet. So if you're getting an error, you just want to make sure that you validate it with the delegate that you're entering in the right information. So in order to add the registered delegate, you need to tell the system what level of access they should have. So immediately it's going to check the box that says that they're active because you're adding a new delegate. And then below that is going to list any service locations associated to this provider. So if I had multiple service locations, it would list them all here. And I would be able to specify whether or not I wanted the delegate to have access to all of the service locations, to just some of the service locations. It's completely up to you what level of access you want them to have. So if I wanted to go on the service location level and say they just want access to certain service locations, I would simply click the active button next to the service location. The other box here that I can check is DA, and that means Delegate Administrator. If you assign a role as a Delegate Administrator to the delegate, that means that when they access their account, not only will they see your information, but then they have the right to manage your delegates. So if you've got an office manager who you want to just take complete control of this, you want them to be able to manage your information and also manage any other people that could work on your behalf, you would assign them as a delegate administrator. So you could do so by checking that box. If you don't want them to be a delegate administrator and you're having them active to a specific service location, you would check the active button and then you would come down here to security functions and let us know what kind of security functions you want us to give to them. So you can check specific ones, you can hit the arrow to put them over as selected functions. Or you do have the ability to assign all service locations and assign selected security functions. So you could say, I have multiple service locations, assign them to all of them, but only assign the selected security functions to those. Or you can select that you want to assign all service locations and all security functions. If I check that box, it's going to say, since you're assigning all of these rights, do you want to just make them a delegate administrator? So I'm going to check yes, I do want to make them a delegate administrator. I want them to work on my behalf and to manage other delegates. So once you've assigned all the access that you want to give to this delegate, you can hit submit. And now you'll see if I scroll down on my list, I have delegate test here as a delegate administrator now. If you want to, say a delegate has left and you want to remove them from active status, you could simply click on them. I'm going to double click here for Jennifer. And that is going to bring up another screen. And all I need to do is click the box to uncheck active. I'm saying don't allow her to see my information. By doing that and hitting save, when Jen logs into her account, she will no longer see your information. So this is a really important step if you have somebody that leaves your practice. So I'm going to hit save. And now you'll notice she is gone from my list here. However, if I do want to see my inactive delegates, so say Jen left for a period of time, so I wanted to take her off for a period of time, but now she's coming back. I can't create new again because she's already been a delegate. So I would need to make her active again. So in order to see my inactives, you would want to click the filter button that's located over here next to status. And click include inactives and then hit filter. And now you'll notice here's Jen. She is inactive, but if I double click her, I can make her active again. And I can hit save. She'll come right back into my active status. So now that we have added our delegate account to our provider, I'm going to log back in as the delegate so you can see now what that looks like. So I'm going to log out of my provider account, and I'm going to go ahead and log in with my delegate account. And now you're going to notice that a lot more information is here. So now, because Joe Test has assigned me as a delegate, I can see this information. So if I was a delegate for many different providers, I would see a list of providers here. And I also have this Go to Switch Provider button now. So if I had multiple providers, I could click that, easily identify, and my list would be here, and I could select which provider I wanted to manage the information for. Because it's very important, if whoever's information is at the top here, this is the information that you're currently managing. So you want to be real careful that you select the right provider if you manage multiple providers. You'll also notice that when I hover over maintenance, I don't just have portal profile maintenance and switch provider anymore. I now have manage my information and manage delegates. I have manage my information because the provider has stated that I can work on their behalf. I have manage delegates because the provider assigned me as a delegate administrator. So if this provider had just assigned me as a regular delegate, I would not have manage delegates here. This would not be a function I would be able to see. But because he assigned me as a delegate administrator, I can now go in, I can see all the delegates listed for Joe Test and manage them as needed. I can also go into manage my information, just like the provider, and I can click Start. And I can make updates and changes on the provider's behalf. I see everything exactly like the provider does. And again, if for any reason I leave the practice or am not going to manage the information for the specific provider anymore, the provider would want to make sure to take you off as a delegate and make you inactive. I hope you've enjoyed our video today on learning more about the provider portal within the provider management module. If you have any questions, you can contact DXC's enrollment team at 802-879-4450, option 4, or you can email us at vtproviderenrollment@dxc.com. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day.